How do you call an owl?
It's called a four note. It goes woo, 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 woo. The idea there is you're going to elicit a response from that other spotted owl.
You should hear my owl calling when I'm in the shower. It's spot on.
Look around you. What do you see? Beautiful nature in all its majesty. Ours to love, honor, and respect, not to pollute, take for granted, nor neglect.
Have a wonderful day.
We'll wipe away your tears of rain, which turns our soil into golden grain. So let's pay homage to you, Mother Earth, the very life force that gave us birth.
The native Hawaiians called her Papa, and the Maya civilization called her Akna. She is the giver and sustainer of life and the most ancient of all goddesses. So in celebration, guest host Oneika Raymond and I bring you our very own love letter to our one and only Earth Mom.
Thank you for this rain. 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 This healing, this healing, this healing rain.
I cannot believe we picked the rainiest day of the year to come out here, but you know what? Mother Nature is doing her thing, and I am not mad at her.
Meet Leah Penniman, co-founder of Soulfire Farm, a community-based farm in Petersburg, New York that helps fight social injustice in the food system.
My favorite definition of a farmer is, if it starts raining, do you go inside? If yes, you are a gardener. If no, you are a farmer.
I feel like that needs to be on a t-shirt.
With almost 20 million Americans who are disproportionately Black, living in areas where fresh produce is hard to come by, Soulfire Farm grows and delivers fruits, vegetables, and herbs to local New York communities, in addition to training the next generation of Black farmers.
So we're heading out to the field to harvest medicinal and culinary herbs.
How did you get into farming?
Well, by accident. I grew up in central Massachusetts. It was a very conservative, challenging environment.
Sure.
To say our peers were cruel to us would be an understatement.
Wow.
So the forest was my solace, and for that reason, when it became time to get a job, I wanted to do something in service of the earth, and totally fell in love.
What has your experience been as a Black woman in farming?
Oh, I almost quit farming. In my early 20s, I had gone to all the farming conferences. Year after year, there was not a single person of color presenting anything. It was almost all white men, actually.
Would you say there was a lack of inclusivity, or we weren't in these spaces? Or was it that we weren't welcomed in these spaces either?
Oh, all of the above. For me, I took it really to heart and just thought, did I pick the wrong path? I mean, the whole country is built on white supremacy, and food and ag is no exception. 98% of the land in this country is white-owned. 85% of the farm workers are people of color who are not protected under the law equally.
My family's from the Caribbean, and so I see in the summertime in some of these small towns, you hear the accents and you realize, wait a minute, these workers have been brought up for the harvest.
And healing from a history of oppression that has disconnected Black communities from the land is an issue that Soulfire Farm aims to address through its training programs.
Why do you think it's important for the next generation of Black people to get into farming?
You know, it's so important. The land was the scene of the crime, and so our people, for good reason, ran away from the red clays of Georgia. That's where the lynching and the sharecropping and the slavery took place. But I would add she was never the criminal. In fact, the land is probably the source of our strength and sustenance, and we're part of this returning generation that's waking up and saying, wait, our relationship to the land doesn't have to be defined by that oppression. So we run training programs for Black and brown farmers, and thousands of people roll through here every year to learn how to farm and then go on to start their own businesses. And we have many dozens of farms that have sprouted from the seed that Soulfire plants. We're packing our solidarity shares, so all of this food goes to over 50 families in the capital region.
And delivering these goods is livestock manager Justin.
What do you do here at the farm?
I take care of all of the animals, and I also help with maintaining the property, and every Thursday I make the deliveries.
It sounds like you are a man of many talents and responsibilities. What are you delivering and where to?
I'm delivering the solidarity shares to families in need, and it's in downtown Albany, Troy, and the refugee center that gets food.
So is this service paid?
So on a normal farm, you would pay the farm a set amount of money at the beginning of the year, and you'd get a bag of groceries every week. Whereas here, we're donating the bags of groceries to the families.
So you're really creating access through this particular way of distribution.
Yes.
I had an incredible day at Soulfire Farm. The passion and the energy just radiates off of everyone working here. We talk about food so much, and we don't talk about all the racial injustices that exist within the food system. And as a Black woman, it's really hard to hear. Have a wonderful day. Take care. So grateful that Soulfire Farm exists, and I'm so grateful for the work that they're doing in the community.
We have now entered the lovely, sleepy town of Ojai.
Nestled in a valley in the Topa Topa Mountains just northwest of Los Angeles, Ojai is a nature lover's paradise.
You could camp, you can hike, you could just be at peace and alone with Mother Nature.
The Ojai Valley is home to over 40 varieties of trees, unique plants, and an array of wild animals. But invasive, non-native species like the Mexican fan palm and eucalyptus are threatening Ojai's delicate ecosystems. And conservationists such as Brian Hawley from Pax Environmental are working tirelessly to rehabilitate the area.
What we're doing here today is doing a preparation for a big restoration project that will go on for the next 2 years. And right now we're doing a lot of the prep work. What I want to show you today is some of the different elements of what we use in order to start and then keep a restoration project like this going.
And as with any project, it starts from the ground up.
What we're trying to do in this restoration project is bring back more oak trees and see the regeneration that you normally do in an oak forest.
So what we're doing right now is basically the opposite of deforestation. We're doing reforestation.
That's exactly right.
And you focus on native species.
Native species are important for a number of reasons, but notably that they're well adapted to this climate and they can handle drought and adapt better to fire scenarios. We're trying to keep the native habitat for the species that rely on these trees. Let's dig a hole. Nice.
This isn't the first time I've dug my own grave.
Let me help you here.
How long is this oak gonna take to reach maturity?
This oak could be 140 years old. So when they start getting bigger, generally that's an indicator that they're older species.
Planted our first tree. Let's celebrate, Brian.
Good job.
Cause for celebration indeed, as planting native trees also benefits the water supply.
As we take out some of these invasive trees, you get more surface water because they're actually pulling more water out of the ground.
And with that comes an improvement in water quality.
I don't know if I'd be drinking out of this pond.
Something that's important to protect the species that call this pond home.
My initial observations here, Brian, I'm gonna say water clarity is about a 0. Water stinkiness, we're at about a 11.
Right.
Let's get to testing.
You got to move away that top layer.
God, that looks terrible.
Now we're looking at really high pH. We're at 7.58. We're looking at dissolved oxygen, 38.2%. We're aiming for higher than that.
Not great conditions for the myriad of aquatic species that live here, and further evidence of the importance of this restoration project.
Let's move on to the next site.
Oh, really? We can't hang out here for a little bit longer?
But it's not just the pond life that's suffering in this region. Roughly an hour northeast of the restoration site,
The topography has certainly changed from where we were to where we are now.
conservationists are working to protect large swaths of a closed canopy conifer forest planned for removal, something that will greatly diminish the habitat of the California spotted owl, a species that is already on the endangered list.
Is it important to keep spotted owl populations high?
It definitely is. They're an important part of the ecosystem as a predator, and they are an indicator of a failing ecosystem as their population diminishes.
If I was an owl, I guess I know why they're living up here.
But to pinpoint their precise location requires a bird's eye view.
The drone can go in and take really in-depth aerial imagery, but also prime habitat.
This is absolutely breathtaking, man.
What you're looking at in this section is actually 500 different images stitched together
Oh, wow.
to create this really in-depth aerial imagery.
And with the help of this imagery, we embark on our search for the elusive California spotted owl.
Many people may have heard of Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer. Well, tonight we have Richard, the owl whisperer.
Do you see anything, Johnny?
I see a bunch of pine needles. How many more trees do you think we have in this forest to look at?
I think several thousand.
How do you call an owl?
It's called a four note. It goes. The idea there is you're going to elicit a response from that other spotted owl.
Is an owl just going to come down and start humping my head?
You certainly can be attacked by them, especially if you're around a nest or babies, and you can get hurt.
I may not walk away seeing a spotted owl, but I've learned an awful lot. It's been an adventure thus far, to say the least. After coming up to Ojai, I'm learning about the health of the water, the health of the forest. It's a symbiotic relationship, and you can't have one survive without the other.
Nicely done.
Better?
Yeah. Yeah.
Trees need water to grow. Owls need trees to live. It really drives the importance home of everybody out there doing their part to keep forest and wildlife as healthy as possible. You should hear my owl calling when I'm in the shower. It's spot on.
In the words of Yves Saint Laurent, fashions fade, but style is eternal. But with the fashion industry being the second biggest polluter in the world, it's clear that its imprint on Mother Earth is no passing trend. In New York City, our guest host Oneika Raymond is finding out how we can both be stylish and socially conscious.
I do love to shop. I love to look cute. I try the best that I can. The fashion industry has a textile waste problem. As much as we talk about style, fashion, beauty, we do not talk about the enormous amount of waste generated by these industries. But eager to have the conversation is Fab Scrap, a New York-based nonprofit that recycles and reuses textile scraps to help mitigate the world's landfill problem. What is this? This is incredible. What is in these bags?
These are all from our brand partners who sign up for service with us. It's all the fabric that originally was heading towards landfill.
Where is this waste coming from?
The fabrics that we deal with specifically are actually the sampling process. So it's more the design side before it even gets to production. We also get in full leather skins.
Ooh, that's so cool. So we're not just talking about polyester.
There was this one fabric that we received where there were actual threads of 14 karat gold woven in, which was amazing.
Let's name drop. Which brands do you work with?
So you have your high-end designers like Oscar de la Renta and Mara Hoffman and Eileen Fisher. As long as you're in design, you're creating some sort of waste. All of these bags just arrived at our loading dock here at the warehouse. When a brand is ready to pick up their fabrics, they just give us a call and we show up at their studio or office and take it off their hands.
How many bags do you get every day?
It's not uncommon for us to get 40, 50 bags a day sometimes.
Oh my goodness, so that's why you have all those impressive muscles, huh? Weighing the bags enables Fab Scrap to keep track of the amount of waste they are keeping out of landfill. Over 500,000 pounds so far.
What we have here now is just one of the bags from our brand partners. And so what we have to do is actually figure out the contents of the bags.
And this is where Fab Scrap's community of 6,000 volunteers come in. Proprietary materials and small scraps are recycled.
All these little bits of fabric, this is what we actually can recycle.
Something this small.
Absolutely. All of these would go in the mix bin over here.
Okay. Whereas larger, non-proprietary swabs of material, ooh, this is pretty, are sold for reuse.
Yeah, you honestly never know what's gonna come out of one of these bags.
Ooh. Woohoo! I got my church outfit.
Yeah, a piece like that is actually truly a treasure. That one, because of how intricate the handwork is, easily retails for over $50 a yard.
What?
Yeah.
Darling. Why is it so important to you to make a difference?
Global warming is definitely an issue that we are faced with. All of these fabrics that end up in landfill or end up incinerating, they produce all this carbon in our atmosphere, and that's what's adding to the global warming issue.
And one of Fab Scrap's most loyal clients is Zero Waste Daniel.
These are recycled fishing nets?
Yeah.
Whose line of handmade, genderless clothing and accessories are comprised of 100% scrap material.
Where do you get these scraps from?
These scraps come from all over the place. They come from places like Fab Scrap, and then some things come from different designer collaborations, and anything we don't use, we reuse. There are scraps in these piles that are from my first collections of scraps ever.
That's insane.
And they won't leave until they're finished goods. Because we're zero waste designers, we're gonna sort this stuff. So our fabric scraps are gonna go in this little pile here. Our paper scraps are gonna go over here, and I'm gonna take my big scrap of paper, and I'm gonna cut out my medium heart, and I'm gonna make another sandwich with it. So we're already reusing our scraps.
Ugh, yes!
Any little leftovers like this that we cut off are gonna go in my bag of shreds over
These
there.
little guys. How do you see value in what others consider trash?
We only see what we choose to see. So if you look at something and immediately think trash, then that's all you're going to see. But if you allow yourself to look at it and ask yourself, what else do I see? You might see a whole world of possibilities. So I'm always trying to reduce, reuse, recycle.
And close the loop. After meeting Daniel and Camille today, I'm really gonna try my best to just live more sustainably, especially when it comes to my fashion. There may just be a zero waste Oneika in my future.
The Sonoran Desert, the most biologically diverse of the 4 North American deserts spanning Arizona, California, and Mexico.
Welcome to the Sonoran Desert.
I mean, this climate does not feel very deserty.
We've got 5 seasons. You can have them all on the same day.
And with 100 reptile, 2,000 native plant, 60 mammal, and 350 bird species calling this desert home, its wildlife is as varied as its weather.
We have black bear, cottontail rabbits, pygmy owl, javelina, mountain lion, cougar.
But as urbanization tears through this 120,000 square mile region,
You have the mountains and the wildlife juxtaposed with sprawling urban communities, highways, freeways, that sort of thing.
it's up to conservationists like Jessica Moreno to ensure that the desert remains a safe haven for our 4-legged friends.
As we grow and build more roads, we're going to lose the wildlife. And as soon as you start to lose species like that, the health of the entire ecosystem fails, and that impacts our air quality, and it impacts our water quality and other things that we actually really rely on.
So in an attempt to prevent this and protect wildlife from our human footprint, Jessica and her team came up with a solution.
So Johnny, this is the first wildlife bridge in the Sonoran Desert.
Wow!
Wildlife crossings like this bridge help wildlife cross safely, and we're actually reducing wildlife vehicle collisions as well. We also have an underpass about a mile south because animals like different kinds of crossings.
To date, the Wildlife Bridge has been responsible for more than 3,200 safe animal crossings. And in order to monitor these movements, Jessica relies on motion-activated cameras.
Oh wow, look at this thing. This thing really is disguised.
Yeah, we've got about 30 of these in the vicinity.
Ooh, what is that?
That's a mule deer.
Look at him. What's the difference between a mule deer and like a reindeer?
Unless it's Christmas, it would be really weird to see a reindeer.
Okay. Oh, that's a great shot of the deer's butt.
Yes, you get a lot of butt shots. Oh, there's a nice guy. Look at him.
Look at that's at night.
Look at
Ooh,
that guy.
what is that, a fox?
That's a coyote.
I knew that. I was just testing your animal skills. That's a big-eared rabbit.
It's a jackrabbit, yes.
What kind of filters do you have on that? Like, can we like put like cool like Snapchat filters on it?
You know, they have not come up with those brands yet.
They haven't.
We'll have to put in a request.
We should.
Cameras are a great way of tracking, but animals also leave us other clues.
Well, look right here. Look.
Ooh.
Right here is a perfect bobcat track.
Wow.
Here's the other one.
Look at that.
Here's the other one. So you can actually see this animal has been walking from there out this way.
Yep.
It's going this direction. This could be badger activity. We actually have seen them cross the bridge, which is great news. Badgers are one of those animals that are really easy to get hit by a car.
So the inhabitant of this badger hole is still with us today as a result of this bridge.
Absolutely, yeah.
You're welcome.
But while badgers have managed to cross the bridge successfully, there have been no reported sightings of one of the desert's more slow-moving inhabitants.
This is our telemetry unit to help track tortoises. We're going to point it, We're gonna listen for beeps.
So it's directional.
It's directional, yep. Okay. And when we hear the loudest beeps, we're gonna go in that direction.
The loudest ones seem to be coming from that little valley there.
I think we need to head that way.
Is that a beep?
That was not a beep.
That was a tortoise.
That was some interference.
That was a tortoise fart.
Yeah.
It's actually louder that way.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Let's go to the top of this hill.
Now it's really loud.
Let's check it.
Warmer, warmer. Oh, boys and girls, look what I found.
I think we got it.
We found a tortoise.
It's a pretty good sized one.
Yeah.
This knob right here is the VHF transmitter. That's what we were actually listening to. This is what's sending out the beeps. These over here are our anchors for the GPS unit.
We can download that data and we'll see exactly where this tortoise has moved. We'll know if it attempted to cross the road, if it went across the crossing, if it didn't.
Listen, buddy, no crossing the street, okay? Let's float him back to his hole. You're going home.
Well, it's almost sunset. Animals are crepuscular. They like the sunset and the sunrise, so that's a good time to go see the most activity on the bridge.
That would wrap this day up perfectly.
Yeah.
So
No promises, but we'll see what we see.
Okay.
I mean, what's the odds of us seeing something?
It's 50-50, but that's why we got our cameras.
Yeah. Nothing has come across this bridge.
I know, yeah, it's kind of disappointing. They're gonna cross as soon as we take off, right? Oh, look.
What? You see something?
You see it? Looks like a male and a couple females.
Oh my God, that's incredible. So this bridge actually works.
It works.
I gotta say, this has been an incredible experience. It gives me hope that these animals are gonna live to see another day.
Here.
Build bridges, not walls.
Build bridges, not walls.
So there you have it. Oneika and I may be coasts apart, but Mother Earth is the one thing we all have in common. So let's do our best to look after her. After all, we only have one. See you next week.